for this first session. Now is the time for you to also to take part. I hope that there are some ideas, questions, remarks. You can react either to the speakers of the session or even to the introduction, whatever you consider. Okay. Please.
It seems that, okay, it's working now. Respected organizers, dear moderators, dear colleagues, I'm Magrdzija and I'm representing Red Cross Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina that is part of Red Cross Society of Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is member of International Movement of Red Cross and Red Crescent. I would like to say greetings to all of you from Mr. Namik Hodžić, Secretary General of Red Cross Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Mr. Ivo Juričević, President of Red Cross. I am a member of Youth Red Cross Presidency and Youth Delegate to General Assembly of Red Cross Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and I am Head of Partnership Development and Humanitarian Diplomacy Program. Because of that, I will not speak about politics and diplomacy. I will speak about one segment of that, about humanitarian diplomacy. As you know, International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent National Societies, or IFRC, is world's largest voluntary-based humanitarian network. Together we have 50 million members and 15 million active volunteers based in 160,000 branches over 5 continents all around the globe, reaching around 160 million people annually. An auxiliary status and 7 fundamental principles: humanity, impartiality, independence, voluntary service, unity, and universality, give us unique access to decision makers and opinion leaders locally, nationally, regionally, and globally, so we can influence legislations through humanitarian diplomacy program. Humanitarian diplomacy is persuading decision makers and opinion leaders to act at all times in the interest of the vulnerable people and with the full respect for fundamental humanitarian principles. Effective humanitarian diplomacy for vulnerable people means improved humanitarian situation, community voices are heard nationally and internationally, greater access and influence with decision makers, new or improved policy decisions taken at the community, national and international levels. I wanted with this, I read everything because of time management, and I wanted to also to, to all of these audiences to give a brief introduction about this program. I think that humanitarian diplomacy is very important, and in some countries there are humanitarian diplomacy departments, and it is very important if we want to build a better Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. You also introduced the concept of humanitarian diplomacy. Very important. Actually, taken together with the intervention by Ms. Georgieva before, I think it's it's a good combination given how young generations are thinking of diplomacy. I think this is exactly the point. Very interesting. I would like to introduce another element. Our organization is working with regions, not with nations at the other level. And there is another concept which is para-diplomacy, which is the regions are, and even municipalities are taking more and more part in international relationships, and especially on cross-border cooperation, which is at the end is not international issues, it's working with your neighbor, which is a different issue. But it's considered by the traditional concept of nation state as some kind of involvement in international affairs. So probably I think it's very important to break a little bit this monopoly of international affairs by nation states and to give the chance also to humanitarian movements, to do some kind of diplomacy, and also to the regions in this part of diplomacy. So very interesting. I think we are talking about a very future-oriented issue. Probably the traditional diplomacy, it's very necessary, but it's self-limited in many cases. And humanitarian diplomacy has made much more for human beings, especially in areas of conflict, since Solferino to now, than a lot of this blah 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 that is taking place in many of these international meetings, etc., where there are professionals of international meetings that are only asking for a new meeting and a new meeting, and nothing is really happening.
With your because I noticed the Red Cross label you have, and I myself, like in my work, I'm not working politically. In my private life, I am partly in politics, but in Red Cross, I'm president of a local section of our own small town of the Red Cross, and it is quite a refreshing forum to be. There are people who may be in politics, but in Red Cross they don't work in any notable political way, and I appreciate it's like a rest. You could say that you can just take things as they are and not so much on the political background of the thing. And this is maybe not all countries are working, not all Red Crosses are working in this same policy that aid is given. Red Cross should give aid to any country, actually not the country, but any people in any country who just are in the need of help. And then of course it's requesting the help. So it can be North Korea or whatever, you may have really poor diplomatic relations, but the need, so the actual need and action is the most important, not the political background. So this is, I think you are working on a very solid basis on that.
Thank you very much. Let's see if it works, otherwise we can moderate the next time. Let's see if it doesn't work.
I have a small remark.
Say some words about my region. I'm from Ukraine, from eastern part of Ukraine. Catholic State, Catholic National University. It is the oldest university in the eastern Ukraine. Was founded 210 years ago. And you know that now in Ukraine also it's maybe considered as conflict at the political and state levels, but I want to say you some words about our experience of Russian-Ukrainian cooperation between border regions. This experience started in 1993 when was founded the Council of the Head of Border Region of Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus. Republic of Belarus. This council worked successfully during 20 years and 2000 will be the essential year in our cooperation because we started to implement the European approach to the cooperation, and in 2003 was created, was bounded to Euro regions in the Ukraine-Russian border, Dniester, between Belarus, Russia and Ukraine, and then between our region, Kharkov region, and Belgrado region, the second Euro region, Slobozhanщина. And now we can consider that the Russian chain became element in the system of European borders, because it reflects the documents about association with European Union, and Russia now constructs the new union, it's Eurasian Union, and our border become the we finished 2 years ago the construction of Euroregion along the Russian-Ukraine border, and we have 4 Euroregions, but now you can see by TV and by the news that the Russian-Ukraine border became the zone of conflict, and we hope that sometimes later we can choose the model of cooperation between EU, Eurasian Union, and Ukraine in this triangle platform for a new model of cooperation, and to continue our project, our joint project, and all our experience will be useful for the next period in our activities.
It seems that all mics should be off for this to be on. Otherwise, yeah. This is Joshua,
Mrs. Gentina Zurdum, editor of the Recite Process TV show on the public broadcasting service BTR1.
Bosanskom-hrvatskom srpskom. Translate my speech in page 49 in book of abstract, and please look quote by Mesha Selmovic in the end of speech, because it's very good picture for this area. Recept za uspjeh. Naziv je emisije koju radim na javnom servisu Bosne i Hercegovine. Univerzalni recept ne postoji, ali sigurna sam da se bez morala i etike ne može na putu uspjeha. Zašto mislim da nam je to jedini izlaz u jugoistočnoj Evropi? Gdje smo zastali, posustali ili pali na ispitu? Često čujem pitanja, čujete ga i vi vjerovatno, isplati li se biti pošten? Istina je nešto drugo. Isplati li se biti duhovno otupljen, gubiti volju za mišljenjem, ili je bolje biti površan, u nemiru i stalno žurbi, kako to najčešće kažemo. Počet ću primjerom iz Bosne i Hercegovine, zemlje koja ima složeno društveno uređenje, mnogo problema i u kojoj mnogo mladih ljudi, kao i ovdje, razmišlja o odlasku. Ne želeći analizirati trenutno stanje, propitivala sam šta su rješenja u različitim oblastima. Razgovarala sam svake sedmice sa ljudima koji nisu političari.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you very much to those of you who are here Sunday morning instead of going to church. I think it's interesting. Second, in some minutes, someone will distribute this questionnaire. It's very simple. You only need to click with the section of, it is not included, but here at the end, you can write down whatever you want. If you consider that there is something that can be better done or something that could be thought for future activities like this, whatever, just let us know. But the rest, please fill it in, because those who are not filling this in will not get a lunch. They told me. Okay, this is second. We will open the session of the morning. There will be two sessions this morning. The one is going to be moderated by myself, because Professor Bradley had to leave to another part of the country. And the second will be moderated by Johannes and Moisio and Anna. First of all, we would like to make some introductory speeches, but my introductory speech is already done. I think I should not go further, because yesterday I already talked too much, and I have to talk a little bit later, so